Welcome back to this Face the Nation special with Imran Khan. We spoke a while earlier to Imran Khan, the chief of the Tehreek-e-Insaaf and former cricketer in Islamabad, and we are bringing you that interview now. Let's talk now, Imran Khan, about the Memogate episode recently. It seems that whenever the civilian leadership in Pakistan faces a threat, it turns to America. Isn't America therefore crucial to the security of the democratic establishment in Pakistan? Has that changed in any way? The delivery of that secret memorandum, which has led to the resignation of your ambassador to the US, Haqqani, doesn't it show the depth of the mutual distrust that exists between the army and the civilian leadership?
Well, I have to say it's absolutely shocking. It's not a question of civilian and military distrust. It's much worse than that. It's if it's true, the allegation is that the president, being scared of the army after May 2nd, tells his trusted man in Washington, the Pakistani ambassador, to tell the Americans to save him from the army. Now, this is a shocking revelation. And I must say, it has sent shockwaves everywhere. But even the things that emerged out of it, one is that Haqqani, who was an ambassador in America, flies to England, and he's in England on the 2nd of May when the Osama incident happened. And he's meeting the British Chief of Staff. Now, what is a Pakistani ambassador doing in Britain? So all the things that have emerged, it's so murky, the whole thing. And so people want to know the truth, and there's a commission right now which is probing the whole this whole saga.
You're saying the democratic leadership is discredited, that Memogate is murky, but are you really representing modern liberal Pakistan? There's a lot of talk about your closeness in ideological terms to the Taliban. Do you share the Taliban's beliefs and ideology?
Look, first of all, the problem with Western countries and also India. In India, they look at Pakistan as if some sort of a battle is going on of some ideology, as if there is this a liberal versus some fundamentalist ideology. This is a narrative which is forced on the Muslim world since the Iranian Revolution. Since the shock of the Iranian Revolution, all over the Western countries, they look upon our societies as this sort of ideological fight is going on. This is nonsense. That's why the Western countries, everyone got a shock. When they saw in the Arab Spring, they suddenly saw that there was no such thing as some sort of a liberal fundamentalist conflict, but people wanting democracy, rights. All the people turned out in the entire Middle East, all they want is the same democratic rights as people have in the West. The same thing is true in Pakistan. When everyone turned out behind what was called the lawyers' movement, 3 years, 4 years back, everyone stood behind the Chief Justice. It was our Arab Spring. People wanted democracy. Now, this is exactly what is happening in Pakistan. Reason why people are joining us is not some ideology, or they believe that they want democratic rights, they want clean government, they want a government that can give them employment, that can get rid of this massive inflation, corruption. That's what people want. People want to have food on the table. They want their children to go to schools. This is the issue, not just in Pakistan, in more or less the entire Middle East. We have a youth bulge. In Pakistan, 70% of the population is under 30. These young people want a future. It's not how you look upon us as if some sort of an ideology is going on, some battle going on. And what you call Taliban in Pakistan, the ideological element would be, I can challenge anyone, is not more than 5%. The 95% are reacting to Pakistan's military operations in the tribal area, drone attacks causing massive collateral damage, and to seek revenge, they go and become militants. So the idea, they say, when you are in a hole, stop digging. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over again by using these military operations. All we are doing is creating radicals in our society. Desperate times breeds desperate people. So best is to cool this thing down, have a ceasefire, start talking, and you will see that the radicals will get isolated. Pakistan does not have in India you have your fundamentalists, you have your extremists, But they don't decide the narrative of the country. Your two main parties talk about issues, economic issues. Same is the issue in Pakistan.
Where does India fit into this new Pakistan that you're talking about? We saw the Jamaat-ud-Dawa recently lead a protest rally protesting against the move to grant most favored nation status to India. Are there takers for peace with India as far as domestic constituency in Pakistan is concerned?
Well, first of all, Pakistan, the majority of people of Pakistan want peace, like majority of Indian people want peace. The problem in the way of peace is Kashmir. Now, people in this country have always stood behind the people of Kashmir. And how have they stood by? Their democratic and human rights to decide their own destiny. Now, this will always be a problem unless some two powerful governments sit down and find out some sort of a roadmap. Now, the other problem which people in Pakistan, which brings hostility towards India, is the 600,000 or 700,000 Indian troops in the Kashmir Valley. So the human rights abuses are reported here. Naturally, in our part of the Kashmir, there is a reaction to that, and so there is an antipathy against India. How do you get out of this, what I call the downward spiral? Because at one point we had confidence building measures, there were cricket matches, there was goodwill, and then Mumbai happened, we were back to square one. So in my opinion, Kashmir has to be solved for the long-term future of the subcontinent. It is no good saying that, put it on the back burner and we'll start other things, because we found that in Mumbai, it doesn't work. Because one little thing, as long as Kashmir is live, something is liable to happen. Now, I think that you need strong governments in both in both the countries. And then I think we can move forward. It is possible. People want peace. But if there is, as long as there's antagonism, there will always be a constituency in both countries which will feed off that. Because hatred also means a lot of votes.
You seem ready to change the discourse on India in Pakistan. What else would you like to do on the India front?
Well, first of all, breed trust. At the moment there is no trust. Pakistan feels that India is active in Balochistan, where there's an insurgency going on. India feels that every time there's some sort of terrorism or a threat of terrorism, it comes from Pakistan. So this inherent distrust. As long as this stays, whatever talks you have, India will always sort of be looking at ISI and Pakistan will be looking at RAW. Now, in my opinion, first of all, the two heads of the countries have to sit down and work out. Where do we want to go to? I think it's time for a new future. The subcontinent at the moment is a very exciting place. Bear in mind that China is the future global economic power and already an economic power. And then this population center here. It's time to now look ahead. How are we going to go ahead? So in my opinion, you need visionary leadership both sides who then have the strength to take tough decisions. But it can only happen if you have two leaders. Otherwise, if one is always worried about being attacked by the hardliners and worried about their vote bank, I'm afraid we'll just keep going on as we have been.
It's going to take two strong leaders, and you believe you may be one of those strong leaders. Are you convinced? Do you feel fairly convinced that you will be the next Prime Minister of Pakistan?
Well, I already predicted that our party will not just win it, it'll sweep the next elections. And I say this because the young people in Pakistan have already decided. And if you go out in the streets in Pakistan now, if you do any survey in this country, any poll, it'll be reflected in that. And it's because not only is there total disillusionment from the old parties, all of them are in power now. So for instance, Nawaz Sharif, who was the government in waiting, it has been ruling 60% of Pakistan, which is Punjab. So the question everyone asks is, what are they going to do now? Never have people of Pakistan, never has the economic condition been as bad as it is right now. So the question is, what will they do now when they come into power? That's why Tehreek-e-Insaaf is gaining, and it's gaining by the day. And secondly, Tehreek-e-Insaaf's stands have been very consistent. Whatever we've stood on, corruption, independent justice system, the war on terror, have all been consistent. And it's an idea whose time has come.
That's it on Face the Nation. That was Imran Khan talking to us earlier from Islamabad and telling us that he believes that he represents an idea, he represents a change whose time has come. Thanks very much to Imran Khan for joining us there from Islamabad, and thank you very much for watching Face the Nation. Good night.